Hey folks, I just wanted to create another reference video for you on something that I like to spend a lot of class time on, but I know sometimes it's like, wait, what did she say? What was that? Which one was which? How does that go again? So what I wanted to talk about a little bit more today and just provide a reference for you on is prepare, present, and practice. So one of the things that we are always being asked to do as teachers is to encourage critical thinking and problem solving in our students. And sometimes we feel like what we do as music teachers is tell. And especially as young teachers, we do a lot of telling. And we probably do a little bit more telling than we should. And so actually doing prepare, present, practice allows the students to tell you what they know. It's not that you don't know, it's that you are leading them through the process of them telling you what they understand. So this discovery learning, this very critical thinking based way of teaching has these three parts: prepare, present, and practice. It is carefully guided by the teacher. The thing is that kids often feel like it's fun and that it's not work, because the two longest portions of prepare, present, and practice are actually prepare and practice. The present itself, the part where we as the teacher do the telling, is very short, and it should be, because we're just labeling a thing that they already understand when we present. So like I say in this little PowerPoint presentation, this runs contrary to what we often think about how we teach, because y'all have sat in a billion classrooms in your life where somebody says, this is an eighth note, it is half a beat, it is half of the length of a quarter note. In 4/4 time, this is what it means. We speak it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we do a lot of telling before students ever really get to play it or experience it. And if we want to go and get real deep here, what we know about the way humans learn best is that they learn better when they hear something first. The idea of sound before sight, before label, kind of becomes important in the way that we teach little kids. So let me take you through this a little bit. Early prepare activities literally just involve loading the kids with the material that they're going to use in order to discover this new aspect of music that you're going to teach them about. So it's just singing songs, speaking rhymes, tapping, clapping, playing, experiencing music that includes the new thing that you want them to know about. Because the students are going to need to know that in order for them to tell you about the new thing. So that the actual telling you have to do is short, simple, and sweet. They need to have some experience with musical contexts that include the thing you want them to learn about. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of pieces that I use often for half note. These are songs that I would teach kids to sing that involve a half note, and we would sing the song, we'd move to the song, whatever. And I wouldn't show them the music yet. This is just something that, hey, it exists in my head, but I might put the words on the board. Maybe if we've already done do, re, mi, we might sing it on sol, fa, whatever the thing is, right? Now, the reason that I don't really use this one to teach dotted half note is because it occurs at the end of the line, and they're not really thinking about holding it out for 4 beats, and they're not really thinking about the silence here. I'm using this song to teach half note because it occurs in the middle of the line. I'm also going to use Frère Jacques for that reason, because on lines 2 and 4, I've got these long durations that carry over into the next measure. Again, I'm not showing the kids this music yet. We're just singing it. We're moving to it. We're tapping the steady beat along while we sing it. All that type of stuff. Same thing with Turn the Glasses Over when we get to this third line and the last bit of the last line. This might not be my very best one to teach it with, but it's definitely a song I want them to know, because eventually they will notice that east and west and ocean are longer. All right, so these are some musical contexts that I would load my kids up with, where we would, sing the songs, speak the rhythms, tap to it, clap to it, all of that. So some of these like middle prepare activities, what I now want them to do, now that, we've got some of these songs in our heads and we know them very well, is I want the students to start to listen for something that's different. I want to make sure that I have songs where they can hear the difference between the regular old steady beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, ba. I want them to get the idea that there are sounds that last longer than one beat, longer than one heartbeat, right? So I want them to start listening for that. So I'm going to start to ask them questions, things that say, when we sing Au Clair de Lune, is there anything that sounds different in our rhythm? Let's think about the syllables that we already know. Like they, at that point, would already know ta and tt, or ta, taka, if you're using Takadimi. I would ask them, is there something that sounds faster than or slower than one heartbeat? Or that might include, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't ask them, is there something that has 2 heartbeats, right? That's leading them a little too close to what I want them to know. But I want them to notice something different about the rhythm. So we could go through it again and be like, I wonder what's different rhythmically about this song. Let's think about how many sounds occur over a heartbeat. And focus on that new aspect without saying, that's a half note and it's worth 2 heartbeats and burp, burp, burp. Nope, I'm not ready to do that yet. I want the kids to describe to me what they hear. I want them to maybe create a movement for what they hear. If we're used to clapping on the steady beat, on each one, or clapping on the rhythm of the words, maybe if they're noticing that that's longer, maybe I want them to create an arm movement or a slide step or something that's going to show that they can tell where it is longer, right? So what I want them to do in late prepare is I want them to use words that represent the new aspect, or come up with body motions, long. They might use, let's see, what's Au Clair de Lune about? Do we even know? It's about Poirot, and it's all in French. Oh no. Hopefully we would have gone over the translation to this at this point, and we might have something that makes sense to use as a visual representation of those longer pitches, right? Or we could just sing long, long, right? So those are things that I'm going to do in the middle prepare stage. And then we've got late prepare, they're making up these hand signals, these body signs, these movements. We might use, manipulatives that go along with it, where I have an icon that stands in for half note, but, we haven't called it half note yet. I haven't shown them the symbol for it. I also want them to read songs or rhymes or things like that. I want them to look at it in other familiar songs that might also include this thing, and then use the icons or use the movements or whatever. I want them to know that it exists other places too. And then when we finally do a present, I'm going to use my best song, the one that isolates it probably the most clearly. In this case, I do think it's Au Clair de Lune, because it occurs in every single line. It occurs in the same place. There's not a whole lot to mess around with it, you know what I mean? With Frère Jacques, it occurs a little bit less frequently. It's definitely a song I'm going to use afterwards. It's one that I'm going to use that's familiar, and I'll get to Turn the Glasses Over. That's probably one where I'm going to go, yeah, we'll do that a little bit later than all of the other songs where it's a little bit more obvious. But Au Clair de Lune is probably going to be my present song, where I'm going to look at it and go, hey, here it is. This thing that we've been calling long, we call it half note. It's got, it lasts for 2 heartbeats. This is what it looks like. I'm going to show you how long it is compared to our tas. our quarter notes that we've already named, and then we're going to do it in Au Clair de la Lune, and maybe have the words and the actual rhythm symbol at that point in time. So the present should be short. It might take like 5 minutes, if that. In some cases it's even shorter. So sing the target song that includes the new thing where we have our half note. I might have something. Might not have this exact thing here that has the actual music on the staff. They might not be ready for that, but maybe I'll have something that has heartbeats with the words and has the rhythm syllables, because I might not put pitch and rhythm together on a full staff by this point in time, but because I want them to focus on the rhythm and focus on the half notes compared to the quarter notes. So that might be what I do in this case. And then we want the kids to practice. I would want them to, remember what that is. If it's like the next lesson, when I see them again, I want to be like, hey, who remembers the last time that we were together? What was that new thing that we did called? Remember in Au Clair de la Lune when we sang that? What was that new rhythm thing that we did? I'd want them to know it and describe it to me and tell me about it and, pick out the symbol out of a lineup or whatever. I'd want them to be able to do it again in another familiar song that we had already sung, like Frère Jacques. I'd want them to be like, does Frère Jacques have anything new? Does it have a rhythmic thing that maybe we hadn't learned about yet? And they could tell me, hey, yeah, it's got that half note thing. I remember. So we want them to be able to then sing it, read it, figure out that it exists, notate it in another song, maybe even in Au Clair de la Lune, maybe in Frère Jacques. And then I eventually want them to start doing it in other familiar songs, maybe like Turn the Glasses Over, and then maybe in a brand new song, right? Something I've never seen before, something they've never seen before. Then I would want them to create something on their own that involves half note. Maybe it's just a clapping exercise. Maybe it's just, on rhythm syllables. Maybe it's, 2 measures. Maybe it's 4 measures. And then finally, I want them to take some time and improvise on their own. Improvising to me, and I think to kids sometimes, is a little bit harder. I don't like to tell them that, but I think it's a more advanced skill than creating when they get to write something down and practice it time and time again. I think improvising and say, okay, we're going to bounce the ball and you need to come up with 4 beats, 2 of which are going to be half notes. Well, that's kind of boring, but if they've got to improvise with a new rhythm, I think that requires them to really have that new rhythm ingrained. So improvising is going to be one of my latest practice activities. So I just wanted you to, walk through that a little bit. Another part of this is I want to show you sort of this matrix, I guess. I've got this up in our resources here. This prepare, present, practice matrix that kind of shows you how we do it. We've got a wide variety of prepare activities. We want to teach and practice those songs that include the new thing. We experience the new thing, we clap its rhythm, we show its melodic contour. We do an aural prep, a physical prep, a visual prep. We come becoming aware of the new thing, describing it, summarizing it, identifying it, talking about the words where it happens in a song, whatever. If they can't do that, then they're not ready to name it yet. Once they're ready to do that, once they can tell you all about the new thing, once they can, use a manipulative and show you where it is, once they can identify the words of a song in which the new thing occurs, whatever that is, then you're ready to present. That's that super quick portion. Maybe it's its own lesson. Maybe it happens, right after you do a late prepare activity where you just go, yo, this is la. Here's where it is on our staff. This is its hand sign. It's the step above so. This is what it looks like. This is its body sign. This is its hand sign. Now let's sing it in this song and we're going to use la this time. Woo. And then after that, we're eventually going to get to all those fun practice activities where we review it, we practice using it in the easiest, clearest context, and then we start doing it in new things. We start writing it, we start notating it, we start creating with it, and then, improvising with it. So that's the big section. So we've got big, little, big. Also, what I have put up here in our resource area is some prepare activities with rhythm and melody, and I've put them in the order in which they should occur in your teaching as well. So the very first things that kids should be doing is orally preparing, and then physically preparing, and then visually preparing. And so I've got some of those activities for both rhythm and for melody. So our oral, physical, and visual prep activities. Some of those, again, singing the songs, echo clapping, echo singing, tapping it, performing ostinatos with it, figuring out, where it might be, deriving whether or not there is an unknown, and then, identifying where that new rhythm occurs, isolating it, comparing it, describing it, listening to the teacher sing or tap or clap and say, ooh, is the new rhythm in here? Singing songs using the known rhythm syllables that they have, and then, tapping or clapping only on the unknown rhythm. Some of our physical prep activities are tapping or clapping, the rhythm of the words while singing, conducting while singing, keeping our steady beat, clapping or tapping only on the new rhythm, touching manipulatives or words on the whiteboard or chalkboard that include, the new rhythm. Again, that's not going to be the new symbol for the rhythm or the word half note. It's going to be things that stand in for the new rhythm at this point. Maybe they can construct human notation where, we have a set of heartbeats and, we have the number of kids that exist to create, two sounds over a heartbeat or one sound over a heartbeat. Or in the case of the half note, maybe we have two students link arms to create something that exists over two heartbeats, whatever it is. And then we've got our visual prep, reading from icons or manipulatives, reading the words that are placed in relation to the beat. You're going to see that a lot. I do that frequently. Using icons or manipulatives on a chalkboard or whiteboard that represent the rhythm, sometimes the new rhythm. Placing words in relation to the beat on the chalkboard or whiteboard. I do that a lot. Notating known rhythms in stick notation, or if they know the symbol notation, with symbol notation, and then using, either stand-ins that they've created, icons that we use in relation to the song, or even just question marks where the unknown thing occurs. And so it's essentially the same thing for melodies, singing the songs, echo clapping, echo tapping, echo singing, tapping the rhythm of the words, performing an ostinato that has the new note while singing a known song, figuring out what the other solfa is in a familiar song, and then being like, there's one we don't know here. It occurs on these words right there. Comparing and describing the new note. Is it higher than or lower than so? Is it higher than or lower than, this other thing that we already know? Singing songs with known solfa and then humming the unknown note. Showing the melodic contour with your arm, using body signs, using hand signs that you already know, having a, uh-oh, or an unknown for the unknown note. All of these are ways to physically prepare a new melodic element. And your visual prep, includes the icons, the manipulatives, etc. Tone ladders or staves that have, a question mark, there we go, that's the word, in place of the new note. So these are some of the activities that you can do to prepare your students to do the new thing before you name the thing and call it la, or call it half note, or call it, ticka ticka or takadimi or whatever the doodad is, whatever the new thing is. They need to know what it is, because what is more important to you? That your students can label a half note and tell you that it's worth 2 beats, or that your students can describe what that means and put it in context with other things that they already know. I'd rather have my kids be able to perform a half note than call it by the right thing. That's more important to me than anything else. So this kind of prepares them to do that, while also encouraging that critical thinking and problem solving that we want so badly all the time in our student learning. It also helps the kids be more engaged. What would you rather do? Listen to somebody tell you about something or actually do it yourself? I think it's easier. And I'm doing the exact contrary to that in making this video, but this is for reference after the fact, after we've already done it in class. So I hope this helps. And again, if there's anything that y'all need, just let me know. Email me, talk to me, come into my office. Have a great day.